We're going to take a closer look at what the charge for Andrew means and what could happen next. So here to break that down is Danny Shaw. He's a policing commentator. He spent 31 years working as a journalist with BBC News. Welcome to your morning.
Good morning, Anne-Marie.
We have you here because we want to sort of break down what the law means. We're dealing with the laws of the UK. Misconduct in public office is known as a complicated charge. So what does it mean in this case?
Okay, so let's be very clear about this. Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor has been arrested. He hasn't been charged. He hasn't been put on trial. He's simply been arrested. This is a stage in the police investigation when they believe they have enough evidence to suspect someone of an offence. But it doesn't mean that he's going to face charges necessarily. It's simply a stage in the investigation which allows police to search his properties, to seize documents, computer files and other evidence, and it allows police to question him in a police station, put questions to him in a formal setting with all those interviews being recorded and noted and so on. So it's a key part of the police investigation. What he's been arrested for is the offence of misconduct in public office. What that essentially means is that if you are someone who is a public official, and he was a trade envoy, a UK trade envoy for 10 years between 2001 and 2011, operating on behalf of the British government, trying to secure trade deals, smooth relations between countries, attract investment and so on, that he misconducted himself. In other words, he performed public duties in a way which breached the public trust, willfully neglected or willfully misconducted himself. So, in essence, it is alleged that he committed an offence while he was performing that role. That's essentially what the allegation is. It's just an allegation at this stage. It's not a formal charge. Doesn't mean that he's going to stand trial.
Yeah, my understanding is he's arrested. He's still in police custody, Danny, is that right? And has 24 hours, according to your laws, to be charged if any are coming. What happens in those following hours?
So he has been arrested. He's been taken into custody by police. He's at a police station. He will, like any other suspect, he will have to appear in the custody suite before a custody sergeant, a police sergeant, who will take down all his details, take his personal belongings. He will ask him if he's got any medical conditions, if he's on any medication. Andrew will then be fingerprinted. He will have a DNA swab taken, and he'll have a mugshot. He'll have a photograph taken of him while he's in police custody. He'll then be taken to a cell. He'll be locked in that cell, simply a bed and a toilet. And then at some point during the process, during the course of today, he'll be allowed to speak to his lawyer, and then there'll be a police interview where detectives will put the questions to him. He will be allowed to have that lawyer present for that interview, which will be tape recorded. That interview could take half an hour, it might take 3 hours, it might be divided into sections so that he's interviewed for a bit and then returns to his cell and then he's interviewed again. The laws around how long he can be detained for are a little bit complex, but the absolute maximum that he can be held in police custody is 96 hours, is 4 days, but that can only be done with the approval of senior police officers and magistrates, judges who sit in magistrates' courts. The likelihood is that he will be held for the rest of today, possibly into tomorrow, and then released. I have no inside knowledge of this, but I expect that he will be released from police custody under investigation or on bail while police can continue their inquiries. It could be that he's formally charged with an offence, but my expectation is, because of the complexity of this case, all the documents that the police have got to go through, that they will need to conduct more inquiries, and so he'll be released and be able to go home.
Just for a point of clarification, Danny, this role of a trade envoy, does that have any links back to, or what links does it have back to the government, and does it have any ties potentially to the royal family, this role of trade envoy, which is where this suspicion and arrest comes from?
Well, it was a formal role that he was given for a decade, acting on behalf of the government, not really acting on behalf of the royal family, but of course he was a member of the royal family, Prince Andrew at the time, the King's brother. And it was a role where he would travel overseas, he would meet representatives of foreign governments. Indeed, he might have come to Canada. It's quite possible that he did. Met dignitaries and other people involved in trade. And the idea was that he would try and smooth the path towards good relations between the UK and other countries, to try and ease the path towards investment and trade opportunities. And we know from the Epstein files that have been uncovered in the last couple of weeks that when he was a trade envoy, it was alleged that he forwarded government reports from visits he made to Vietnam, Singapore and China to Jeffrey Epstein. That was in 2010. That he forwarded Epstein information on investment opportunities in gold and uranium in Afghanistan, and also that he passed a Treasury briefing from the department that's responsible for financial affairs in the UK to a contact. Now, whether those details that were passed on by Andrew to Epstein were all part of his job and part of his responsibilities, well, that's an open question. However, the official guidance for trade envoys was that they have a duty of confidentiality over sensitive commercial and political information when they make official visits. So he will have to explain, presumably, why he was passing on those documents, what reason he had, was that part of his work as a trade envoy, all completely legitimate, or did it breach the rules and the law?
Danny, the conditions of the search, what would they be looking for? What are they allowed to seize?
Well, as soon as police arrest someone, they can carry out searches on any property or premises that's linked to the suspect. That's why they've been to the estate in Norfolk, in Sandringham, in the east of England, where Andrew is currently living. And that's why they've been to Windsor, where he was living up until a few weeks ago. They can search for computer files, they can search for documents, they can search for other records, any personal information that might be in those premises. I mean, they can go from room to room looking for evidence.
And these are royal properties, some of them, right? Like these are still under the ownership of the Crown and of the King.
Yeah, but, you know, these are properties that he is living in or has been living in, and he may have documents, he might have boxes of files, perhaps he throws everything away, deletes everything, or perhaps he keeps stuff. They will be looking at computer hard drives and, you know, other devices like that. They could seize his mobile phone and look for information on that as well. I mean, the allegations clearly go back some considerable distance, but at the same time, if police uncover other information in those searches that may be relevant, or information that suggests that he's committed other criminal offences, then clearly that will form part of their investigation.
Policing commentator Danny Shaw joining us from London this morning. Appreciate your insights. Thank you.